Hello, I'm Kit Allowitz, and welcome to another Preeminent Customer Experience Huddle. This is Huddle number 19. Let me ask you, have you ever heard of the Marshmallow study? It's one of my favorites, and I've shared it literally hundreds of times with audiences over the years. It's perhaps one of my favorites because, number one, I like marshmallows. In fact, love them. And two, I likely struggle in many cases with delayed gratification, meaning putting off the temptation of the now for the bigger payoff in the future. Let me tell you a little bit about a study that was fascinating that was conducted literally decades ago at the University of Stanford by psychology professor Walter Mischke. Now, the year was 1972, and this story is about delayed gratification. In the study, children, or a child one at a time, was offered a choice between a marshmallow as an immediate reward or both a marshmallow and a second treat, another marshmallow, if they could wait or were willing to wait 15 minutes before eating the first one. Now, to add to the temptation, the researcher would leave the room and the child would have to wait alone with the marshmallow for the allotted time. When the researcher came back and returned, they would observe whether or not the child had eaten the first marshmallow or not. Those who had waited would receive their choice of a second marshmallow or a pretzel or some other reward as a treat. In the follow-up, and this is the fascinating part, in the follow-up studies lasting literally decades to the point where the children 5 years old in the study were now in their late 40s, Walter Mischke and his research team found that the children who waited 15 minutes during the initial study achieved throughout their life from 5 on higher degrees in terms of better life outcomes in areas such as standardized testing, educational attainment, health standards, and other life measures. Subsequent research studies have worked to replicate Walter Mischke's findings, and although the results varied based on several factors, one truth remained, and that is this: there is an undeniable truth and value related to this idea of delayed gratification. Now, you might be thinking, marshmallows are cool and all, but what does that have to do with our organizational pursuit of a preeminent customer experience for our customers? Well, although we are not literally starving off our desire to eat a marshmallow at the workplace most often, we are tempted all of the time to short-term gratification in terms of it's abounding in our workplace in not taking, when necessary, the appropriate level of ownership, courtesy, accuracy, and timeliness related to creating value for our customers. Consider an Anderson-Hauser employee who wants the short-term satisfaction of getting a customer experience problem off his or her plate. Our plates seem to be always full, and in many cases brimming. There is the temptation to dump the issue on someone else to deal with in terms of a marshmallow. Don't take the marshmallow. Own it until the end or until it makes sense to share that ownership with another person who can continue that preeminent customer experience. How about an Anderson-Hauser team member who wants to avoid an uncomfortable conversation with a customer? He or she might avoid asking tough questions to get to the root cause of the issue and instead take just a small bite out of it rather than addressing what really needs to be talking about in order to really take care of the customer for the long run. Here's one more example. What about an Anderson-Hauser employee who wants to please the customer and compromise ownership for courtesy, only to swallow the marshmallow, so to speak, and make a promise that they can't actually deliver on? At some point then, somewhere down the line, another Anderson-Hauser employee is going to have to address the situation and deliver bad news to the customer. So in each of these examples, a desire for short-term gratification undermines our ability to deliver a preeminent customer experience. Therefore, here's your chance to talk about, in your little small teams, the marshmallows in our world and begin to address how to deal with them. So in doing so, we work with our colleagues to be able to provide a greater customer experience. So I'd like to give you at least 3 things to chew on for today's huddle. Number 1, What customer service marshmallows do you or do we tend to gobble up prematurely? Number 2, what's the long-term effect of eating those customer experience marshmallows? And number 3, how can we hold off from eating those customer experience marshmallows when they first appear? And finally, I invite you to eat less marshmallows on our own individual and collective journey to becoming a repeatable, reliable, responsible, world-class, preeminent customer experience provider. I'm Kit Alowitz, and we'll see you next time.